Hey everyone, my name is Rooster. Welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I'm going to be facing off against my nemesis. His name is Feng Feng, also known as Red Hair in the English-speaking community, and he's one of the strongest players in the game for basically as long as it's been out. He's a streamer on Bilibili from the 201 region, the Chinese region, and I mean, what else is there to say? He won Mag 1 Season 3. He's just one of the best players in the world, and he also happens to be probably the player that I have the worst win rate against. He's undoubtedly a better player than I am, but the win rate is lower than I would expect against, some of the other top dogs that you can consider to be on his level. I think it's mostly because this guy plays full tempo. He doesn't really pick spells all that much. He invests a lot into the attack enhancements and defense enhancements, and he just plays basically for maximum amount of staying power on the board. And it means that the games sometimes are super, super fast. But we'll have to see what we can do this game. I'm picking my favorite specialist, Elite. Yes, I know you see it a lot, but hey, I just enjoy playing it. And I just can't pass up on an opportunity to pick it when it's offered to me. My opponent is a fortified specialist, so already we have the stat stacking. And he doesn't have bad units for it either, starting with the Sabers and the Arclights. Sabers definitely have gotten more popular and have gotten better results, I'd say, across the board in aggro scenarios, especially in High Mamar. I've seen a lot of people pick it up with great success. And we'll just have to see how it performs here. I'm not too unhappy about my starter. I don't particularly like the Hounds. Again, going to be, somewhat awkward to kill these crawlers. And I'd probably rather have started with Stormcaller Crawler and been able to buy double Hound, let's say. But hey, you can't have everything. And round number 1 here, I probably do have to just buy, double crawlers. Behind the towers, we are going to play symmetrical. And we'll just have to see how this goes. Crawlers here, kind of going towards the middle. Arclights are locking onto them. They do need 2 shots to be able to take down these crawlers. And you can see they get overwhelmed. Problem is, left side, it didn't really have too much. So Hounds get taken out, Crawlers go towards that tower, Stormcallers are distracted, and looks like I will get debuffed. I managed to at least take down one Saber, but we'll have to see if we can take down the other. Crawlers being mighty annoying. Not even going down there. Stormcallers missing salvo after salvo, and well, that means that we are going to lose no matter what. Crawlers under the gun line, and Saber also will get to live. So not fantastic. And there's this heavy armor that shows up here. Kind of a scary item. But my opponent decides to skip it and goes for the Wasp Swarm instead. There's a lot of these cards, right, that can show up on round 2 currently, between the Wasp Swarm, the Rhino Drop. Underground Threat got moved up to round 3, but there's a lot of potential for tower takes, cheeses, especially in these kind of aggressive defensive games that you can have. Lots of towers will be open. It's hard to defend against, every single possibility. Back right corner, back left corner. Can be in the middle. You can get attacked from the diagonals. Tons and tons of things that you have to, take into account. And I decided to pick up the heavy armor here because I just value that item highly. And I feel like on Elite especially, I'll be able to grab something tanky and maybe even, mirror the Sabers. Because Saber isn't too bad of a unit into Saber. It's, meant to deal with the bigger, tankier units. And, well, that's what the unit is itself. So you can also see me go for a bit of a tower cheese there. Crawlers towards the tower, but alas, I didn't defend against the Wasp. Would have been hard to do though. I would have needed to basically put 2 crawlers in the back, or I guess 2 blue fangs. That would have done the trick as well, but it would have taken up my whole turn. And yeah, I don't know. Wasn't really what I wanted to go for. I picked up a marksman because I felt like he was going to go for some type of Phoenix play. Didn't end up working. Maybe I should have gone for the fangs after all, but yeah, we do lose here, sadly. So first 2 rounds going to go over to Feng Feng. Now round number 3, unit reinforcements, and I instantly snap pick that quad fang drop right there. That is amazing on Elite because I cannot get my hands on level 1 chaff, and especially fangs, you kind of don't want to get a level 2. Only if you're playing carry fang, and I guess the exception there is level 2 fangs can beat a wasp drop, whereas level 1s can't, but you really just don't want to feed that fang experience into the more important units. Crawlers at least have some breakpoints, right? Level 2 crawler can survive a level 1 arclight shot, but fangs, it doesn't really matter what level they are, they're just going to die. And have a look at this. Opponent also picks up the fangs and goes for charge shot on the arclights. Kind of getting styled on here. Not a tech that you typically see that much. I wonder what prompted it. I guess what he's trying to do is make sure that he does one-shot my crawlers. And it's not the worst into the hounds either. If I decided to invest more into those, then charge shots could be helpful. As you can see, I did pick up my own saber here as well, making good use of that heavy armor we picked up the round prior. And what I'm trying to do here is just make sure that I have something that can contest these double sabers, because there is quite a lot of pressure on this side. One of the sabers also already leveling. I just needed something else aside from the Stormcallers to help me out with the DPS. And now, I don't really hate my position too much. Of course, chaff clear is still a bit of a concern, and I probably will need to go range on my hounds at some point, but at least I've managed to pick up some tanky boys. Marksman locked onto that saber. Sadly, yeah, over here you can see hounds just not really able to do too much, and sadly his saber will take out mine. Right side still collapsing, so I guess we're playing catch up even on round 3, but I feel like I'm starting to get into a better spot here. I'm just probably like hound with range away from stabilizing. We're taking a little bit more damage, but we started with a lot, so we're still up to 3,400. Round number 4, Super Supply Enhancement shows up, and as much as I'd love to skip it here because my turns are expensive and especially my units are expensive, so having to spend 300 on that super supply is not really what I want to do, but it's the first round it can show up, and the card is just so good once you get to round 7 and you start making that 150 profit. So after a bit of a think, I do believe that I go for the super supply. Would be weird if I didn't. Portable shield is something you could consider, but, you know, if I'm gonna win, I'm gonna need to mount a comeback, which means that I'm gonna need to win round after round after round to have a chance of taking him out. And when he's at 4,700 hit points, that's gonna take a while. So we do pick it up. We still have a little bit of money left, so I can at least buy range on the hounds, which is what I wanted, because have a look at this. So much chaff being purchased for Fung Fung. And I decided to go for a sneaky flank as well, because I could see that quite a bit of chaff could get pulled. And look at this, already looking a lot better. Hounds staying safe behind my sabers, able to get rid of all the crawlers. Part of them, of course, got pulled. A debuff is lined up. Right side struggling a bit. Hounds looks like they died. I might need to add a saber over there as well. But not too unhappy about how this is going. Left side, finally we managed to take down that big saber. And while the right side is slightly losing, we should be just fine as we now collapse onto that arc light. It does take down the tower. Kills a couple more of my storms and my chaff, but finally, we've managed to find a win here on round number 4. Heading into round number 5, we get more unit drops. Lots and lots of deployments. Triple Mustang, Double Phantom, Tarantulas, and Wraith as well. And looking at that board, I mean, Mustang doesn't seem bad to me. Guess it's pretty good into the fangs. It also provides a lot of extra chaff, which is never a bad thing on Elite. So yeah, we do both pick it up. Just one of those, you know, units that you don't mind having on the board. And I don't think it's too bad into the Charged Arclights either. They shoot a lot slower than normal Arclights, so they'll take a bit longer to get through the pack, and that might help out those Mustangs. Gonna go for another flank here on the top right with the hounds and the crawlers. Again, you see these like vertical positionings behind the tower, trying to pull as much as I can, take some of it out, and then alleviate some of the pressure on my main army. I also decide to range my Mustangs. He does the same. Sabretooth shows up on the right side tower as a frontliner, and then that's pretty much the whole round. Now let's see. Stormcaller's locking on. Hound's already level 3, so not too bad over there. Hound's on the top right, spawned in. Not quite able to get rid of everything, but they've cleaned up a decent amount. And at least they're stalling, which makes it a bit easier for my Saber to try and get close to the arcs, but the charge shot will take him out, sadly, before he can fire his shot. And looks like the right side is collapsing once again, and the same thing is happening on the left. I'm just not really managing to get through by the looks of things. And not sure what the problem is here. Maybe it's a DPS issue. Arclights just seem to be so annoying to get to. Maybe I need range on my Sabers and just buy a couple more. Sabers should be able to contest Arclights. If, you know, they lock on, then they will typically one-shot. But right now, I'm not quite able to do that. Round number 6, improved firepower control system shows up. That's a quick pickup for me. We do have those Mustangs, so seems like a sensible thing to go for. Opponent with the advanced defensive tactics. I think he did pick that up this round. So yeah, I said that he really likes stacking stats. And here it is. 30% additional hit points. You can still click the extra 30% from the tower as well. Could become a bit of a problem. And, well, as I said, I felt like DPS was the thing I was lacking. So I decided to pick up 2 more Sabers and then also give them the range enhancement to try and contest the Arclights. Improved firepower is going to go onto that left side Mustang. And then that'll be that. Just look at the amount of chaff, by the way, that's being picked up here. So much chaff. I really hope that the Hounds will be able to keep up, but otherwise I might have to pick up something else. And, well, I'm trying to learn a little bit here, as I do pick up the second attack enhancement. And I'm trying to stay ahead. It's not a bad thing to click either, knowing that he went for advanced defensive tactics, just kind of trying to keep up on the damage front as much as I can. And yeah, Saber's doing great. We've already managed to take out some Arclights in the middle. Sabers on the left have gone down as well. Wasps arriving a bit late. That's not ideal. I don't have that many Mustangs left, but looks like we might be fine. Right side still collapsing. I'm really struggling to just find the chaff clear or keep it alive to get rid of these Mustangs, and then when they arrive, Sabers are just overwhelmed and unable to connect with the Arclights. Maybe the pools aren't the best, but it is allowing me to kind of open up, right, his army and make sure I don't have to deal with an infinite stream of chaff. But maybe it's costing me as well, as my chaff clear dies and then, you know, he has late chaff arriving. Or, well, arriving even later than it normally would. Seems like we are able to brute force though, so another round win here as we enter round number 7. And round number 7, Efficient Light is a fun card, especially on Elite, but it's a bit late on round 7. This is kind of comparable to something like Super Supply. And yeah, round 7, it's a bit late for it. You could pick it up on round 4 for certain, you could pick it up on round 5 as well, but after that it starts getting a bit dicey. If you have a deployment or additional deployment card, then it's a different story, but neither of us have that. Round number 7, I decided to pick up Mech Rage on my Hounds, as I felt like I did need more chaff clear, but have a look at this. Double tower enhancements picked up, underground crawlers as well. My guy is stacking the hit points as well as the attack. The attack is not as important. It's good for the Mustangs, but the Arclights with Charge Shot won't really care. These buffs are all additive, so, you know, he's added like 36% extra damage, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, going from 300% to 336 is not that big of a difference. But it is significant on the Mustang. And here I'm just picking up more of the Hounds because I felt like chaff clear was a definite problem, and well, he is capitalizing on that. We add a shield airdrop there to the flank to try and make sure that these Hounds survive a little bit longer, hopefully able to take out a few of those crawlers, but man, look at how long it takes just to get rid of that one level 2 crawler pack. Left side is looking good, I will say. Sabers locking on. The chaff delay working out Right side, though, still collapsing. Level 3 Mustangs arriving. This Arclight, level 4, very, very menacing. And now we have a late pack of crawlers arriving, which is going to be a big problem. Not much chaff gear left, just a couple of Mustangs there on the left. And yeah, that is not ideal. Crawlers even splitting up, going to go for tower, take it out. I get debuffed, and with that, I'm going to lose the round again. And now I'm thinking like, oh my days. How do I stabilize from here? Opponent has Giga Mustangs, Giga Arclights, underground crawlers with tons and tons of HP buffs. It's just so scary. But round number 8, there is a card in here that maybe you could think is a bit late to go for. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do to try and solve the problems that you're facing. And right now I could see chaff clear just is not sufficient. Nowhere close. The hounds cannot keep up. There's too much going on the opponent's side of the board. I get offered improved Wraith, which gives 30% attack and importantly also gives a little bit of extra range. 5 range to be precise. And Wraith is the king of chaff clear, pretty much, right? It has a very unique mechanic where it will always try and find different targets to shoot, so it cannot really get stuck, or it's very hard for it to get stuck. And that helps out a ton. So I decided to pick up 2 Wraith and, well, hope that those will be able to help out with just this absolute armada of chaff that is coming my way. And yeah, I mean, already I would say here, things are looking a bit better. Opponent adds some sledgehammers with field maintenance to the board. I guess trying to annoy those sabers of mine and also try and get the Mustang stuck a little bit, but the high-level Wraith doesn't seem to care too much. Of course, it's one of those units that also benefits a lot from the attack enhancement because of how fast it shoots and how often it shoots. And seems like the Wraith was the play. I don't think there was much that we could do there, but Wraith seems to have solved part of the issue. Still, right side is a little bit weaker, but managed to get a debuff. Sabers are going to remain alive. Wraith also making its way over. The final high-level Mustang dies, and with that, we will be able to pick up another round and finally get Fung Fung down to below 3k as we enter round number 9. We're in the proper late stages of the game now. A lot of games don't even go this long. And yeah, that means that we're having to deal with the 3rd rotation of unit reinforcements. Triple Wasp, Typhoon, Vulcan, and Fire Badger offered. Wasp, of course, not great here. Both of us are already into Mustang. Typhoon worth the most. I decided to just pick that up and sell it. I think he does the same. And that means that we can go into the next tech for Wraith. And of course it is going to be the floating artillery array. Fantastic tech. One of the best techs in the game. Just straight up doubling the amount of guns, which is very unique. And yeah, again, with the way that the Wraith works, that is such an insane tech. I decided to pick them up at level 3 as well because, well, when they're high level and with 8 gun, they can start to become a DPS carry as well. And my opponent, well, he realizes that, and he decides to go for triple melter after selling that high-level Typhoon with not just range, but EMP as well. I'm guessing the EMP is more so to try and break shields and perhaps EMP my sabers, but regardless, just ranged melters can be a big problem for the Wraith to deal with. And we'll just have to see how this goes. Temp range, of course, has to be clicked at this point. We are loaning as well, I believe. Oh, actually, my opponent not even loaning their Nerves of Steel, although I guess he's very high on hit points, so getting a small advantage there, economy-wise. And let's see, how does this go? I might consider perhaps going for underground crawlers myself. It's not the worst. Opponent has to rely on his Mustangs a little bit as well to chaff clear because those Arclights shoot a lot slower. Let's see, how does this go? Wraith all gone down. Ooh, not looking too great. Left side melter is low on hit points, but my tower goes down. Those late crawlers are really messing me up. And I think that, yeah, that top right flank there is actually causing me some problems. Alright, and here we are, round number 11. Apologies, by the way, if you noticed that the hit point total is slightly different. There was a slight bug on the final round, but this is the correct hit point total that we had between the two of us. Nuke shows up And of course we have to pick it. Fung Fung snap picks it. And I'm already thinking, okay, what do I need to do? I pick the nuke. His strong side seemed to be his right side, so it would make most sense for me to try and use it over there. He decides to use it on my strong side. Ideally here, I buy a beacon to be able to beacon some of these units out. And then we have to bubble, naturally. And then apart from that, I mean, there's a couple of levels available here and there on the Mustangs, on the Wraith. Have to go for temp range. And then after that, I mean, I might just have to pick up, you know, quad chaff yet again. I think I have the damage required to be able to kill all of his units, but I just need to distract his army for as long as possible. And yeah, looks like it is going to be just even more chaff picked up. Beacon will get purchased, and we did guess correctly, luckily. AA Mustang there, picked up from my opponent, as he goes for even more melters. One even all the way on the side there. And we'll have to see, is the nuke going to land properly? I at least save one of my Wraith. More bubbles being picked up, but the middle one is likely forsaken. And yeah, here it goes. Doesn't quite look like we're going to break that shield though. If the nuke was slightly more to the right, at least we would have been able to take down this melter. Left side looking too bad, but is my beacon slightly too long? It might have been. Pushing the Wraith forward, yeah, oh no. Melter locked on. Okay, we do take down that melter, that's very good. But still, I have no more chaff gear left. Couple of crawlers going to go for my tower, take it out. Getting debuffed again by those pesky late crawlers arriving. Perhaps, yeah, I think that flank should have gotten sold. Is it going to matter, though? Maybe we can stick into the game. We only need to take down, or, well, we need to take down all of the units, but one melter could survive, as it would only deal 350 damage, and we've got enough hit points to survive at least that. Looks like I ran out of chaff gear, though, and now with the EMP landing, Saber is going to get slowed down, going to get locked on by the melters, and it seems like, sadly, it's not going to be enough. With 2 melters left alive, an Arclight, and a couple of Mustangs, I will go down. I think that was a game of inches, though, there at the end. The nuke, sadly, not something I can really do too much about. One Wraith going down after the 15 seconds there transpired. And if the nuke was like slightly more to the right, we could have at least hit this melting point, and then maybe, just maybe, the interaction would have been slightly different. What I should have done, though, a long time ago, I think, is sell out of this flank, because it really just ended up costing me. I think it was all right in the early to mid game and allowing me to get back into the game, but at some point, it just meant that we had super late high-level crawlers arriving after my Wraith were already dead. And yeah, that was just a little bit too much to deal with. Very cool game, though. I think a lot of stuff happened here. Even able to deal with that abyss that randomly showed up. And yeah, facing Charged Arclight, not the most common. Also having to pivot into that improved Wraith. Having the Elite. I think a lot of stuff here happening. Of course, the tower buffs, still powerful as ever. A staple as well of Fung Fung's gameplay. Wasn't quite able to get him this time, but felt like it was a competitive one. So I hope that you liked it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you thought of the game. Where did I mess up? Did I, should I have sold that flank? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date on latest content, please consider subscribing. If you want to see me play live, please check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.